Hello, and thank you for choosing the Legacy Lawyers as your source of information. We know this might be a difficult time you are going through, but we are here to educate you and help you through the process. Please stay tuned for our question and answer portion.
Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, David. How was your weekend?
It was very nice.
Yes, that's good to hear.
It was a lot of hard work. I did some bicycle riding, and I ended up doing 50 miles and got a little sun-soaked, so I won't be doing that again.
Well, that's a long distance on a bike.
It's a long distance to ride for some really good fish tacos. So
Well, at least it was worth it.
that's right.
Okay, so for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about trusts and pretty much everything that goes along with them.
Okay.
So starting out, what is a trust?
Okay. A trust is an estate planning tool. So most people understand a trust as simply, it's similar to a will but more complicated. So I guess I'll explain it by explaining the limitations of a will and how a trust can fill in the gaps of what a will is not capable of doing and why people should have trusts. So a will is essentially just a document that reflects someone's intentions on how their property should be handled after they die at the time that they create this will. When that person passes away, the will doesn't automatically change ownership of property. It doesn't automatically give people the right to sell property or handle those assets as if they were the decedent. So a will, generally speaking, has to be probated, which means you have this will and you have to file something with the court to have the court sort of bless that will, to appoint someone to be in charge of the estate of the deceased person and to manage this estate and prepare accountings and inventories, and usually they have an attorney, and both the person handling the estate and the attorney representing that person is entitled to compensation. It's a long, drawn-out process, and it costs money. A trust is very different in that a trust creates something during the person's lifetime. It actually works during the person's lifetime. So what a trust is it's generally a document that, I guess, it sets forth two concepts. One is who is owner of the property, and also who gets to enjoy the property. That may sound very odd, because if you own something, you get to enjoy it. Like if I have my fish taco, I'm the owner and I am going to enjoy it. I don't have to share. But there are pieces, and some people say, well, possession is 9/10 of the law. And well, that means that every time you turn your car into the valet, they own your car. And it's only by their good graces you get your car back. But there are a lot of properties that have what are called title documents or deeds. Your car has a title document, and your house has a title document. And who is on title has the power to pull money out, to sell the property, to assume dominion and control over that property. And who gets to enjoy that property is generally the same person. But what the trust does is it says, okay, well, I have this house on 123 Mockingbird Lane, and I'm going to put it in the trust. And the trust is going to have me as the title owner. And the trust is going to say that I get to enjoy the property during my lifetime. So there's really no meaningful difference. However, this trust in assuming ownership of this property during my lifetime is now kind of this document or this trust that governs how this property is to be handled after my death or my incapacity. So the trust will say, after David dies, John Doe is going to be the successor trustee. John Doe steps in, or Jane Doe, and they are now the trustee, and the trust already had assumed ownership of the house. And the trust says, okay, well, after David dies, Jane Doe is a successor trustee, And Jimmy Doe is the beneficiary, or the person who gets to enjoy the property after David's death. So without the necessity of opening probate and going through an expensive and time-consuming process of having someone step into the shoes of the deceased person and handle all the assets and get court approval to transfer those assets to the people who get to enjoy it after David's death, all someone has to do now that this stuff is in the trust is, sign some affidavits, record some death certificates, and it's a simple changing of the hands. And the trust will give guidelines or instructions as to how that property is to be used, whether sold or continued in terms of administration for the benefit of other people. And so that essentially is what a trust is. It's an instrument, it's an estate planning instrument that helps people avoid probate by creating this distinction between ownership and enjoyment.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to email us at smm@thelegacylawyers.com. Have a great day.
Thank you.